Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network. We join you on this Wednesday morning. A lot going on. Hey, May, other than October, May is always the busiest sports month. A lot going on this weekend, including the Subway Series, which will get a real fierce spotlight because the Knicks won't be playing. The Knicks are going to get plenty of rest here, probably more rest than they want. Now everyone will be worried about them having too much rest. But hey, that's the way it goes. As this series looks like it's destined to go 7 games after Cleveland's comeback. Cleveland's just so erratic. I mean, they're bad at home. They win at home, but they're bad in the first half, and they come flying back. Mitchell has a crazy second half. He scores 39 points in the second half. I mean, it's a very erratic team, talented but erratic. While Detroit plays hard, but just doesn't have enough scoring. And they're doing a good job of forcing their one star into a lot of mistakes. He has almost set a turnover record with what's going on here. All right. We got a lot to get to, but before I do it, and I'm not going to get to the NFL schedule today. I'm not, it's funny. Back in the days of the fan, I used to drive, especially the Giants, crazy because I had someone that I knew very well who got the schedule because it was part of what they did. So they got the schedule. So I always had the schedule early. And I was always like, I'd throw out a game and then I'd throw out another game. I wouldn't throw out the whole thing because I didn't want to go drive everybody crazy. But the Giants used to get so mad. The league used to get so mad because people have this. And that's why you get these tidbits. First, the league sends some of it out this way because they think it creates some buzz. And they've released all the international games because that's their baby. I have some thoughts on the NFL, but I'll wait until they release the whole schedule, and then we'll get into that because I do have some definitive thoughts on the NFL going forward. Um, let's do the emails first because we haven't done those in a while, and then I'll get to certain topics that we don't touch on in the emails because I don't want to go through them and then touch on them backtrack with some of the emails because I don't know what the emails are. So let's do the emails, and then whatever topic I don't get to from the ones that are out there, like you have the PGA this weekend, you got a major in golf. You have the Preakness this weekend with a very odd field, but you got 14 horses in the race, including a couple of Derby starters. The Derby winner, so it changes everything. You have two basketball series still going on, and two teams that have been overpowering: the Knicks and OKC, waiting in the wings. And we go from there. And of course, the Yankees and the Mets, and and last night, obviously, Ewing's debut. Now, let's start with the emails. You can send me an email at mikefriendsasapodcast@gmail.com. We start with Alex. You mentioned that the Mets need to make a trade like they did for Piazza. That's not what I said. What I said was they need to get a player, and I wasn't expecting them to do something in the magnitude of Piazza. But they were reluctant to do Piazza other than Doubleday. Will Ponce was reluctant, Steve Phillips was reluctant, and it completely changed their franchise. Completely revitalized their franchise. Those moves matter. Even last night, the idea that they were bringing Ewing up, without question, energized that fan base tremendously. I mean, they were really excited. You could see the fans in the stands were really excited by that last night. And they had a good crowd, which I give them credit for because, I've talked about them not drawing. 36,000. Now, maybe because for some reason Detroit was a draw in an advanced sale, I don't know. Because people thought Detroit was gonna be good, but Detroit's struggling because Schoolville's on the shelf, and so is Baez, and so is Torres, and so is so many different guys that they're an awful team right now. They started a guy last night. The Mets scored 10 runs last night. Yeah, but the guy had a 10 ERA his last 3 starts. Flaherty's been terrible. One of the worst starters in baseball. If they can't hit him, and they, got plenty of walks last night and punched some hits together, and kid hits a big triple, and away we go. All right, but let me get to this. You mentioned that the Mets need to make a splash. Which player do you realistically think? Okay, the Mets are in a unique position. Clearly, clearly, some of the moves that Stearns has made, even though Stearns yesterday, and I watched them, gave Mendoza a full endorsement. Uh, Said that he thought they could still compete this year, despite the fact the quarter of the season's gone. He didn't say it was early, but he still thought they could still compete. He did admit that some of these guys are going to take a long time to come back. With that being the case, and with they having the resources that they have, money's no issue. Unless they wanna be a ghost town, and they made a move yesterday, that's a move. I said, "Make moves that the fan bases will react to." Bringing up Ewing was a move, but I think they need to go out and get a bat. I don't know when Lindor's coming back, I think he's coming back eventually. I know Bichette and Soto are gonna hit because they're pros, they're good pros. Soto is a great hitter. Bichette's a really good hitter. They're going to hit. I don't have any question about that. It's going to happen. The other guys in the lineup, you question. Although I still think Vientos has worthwhile, and he has hit a lot of balls that could have been out of parks, bad weather, wind blowing in, just missed, blah, blah, blah. So I think he offers something. Okay. I'm going to give you two radical moves. Both of them, it's taking advantage of teams that want to unload. One is an easy unload. One they will drive them here. And this one's a dangerous one. And that would be my second one. My first one, believe it or not, I would look into bringing Mike Trout here. He's got $178 million left on his contract. They're willing to eat some of that. They know that nothing they do there is going to work. He has shown a lot of life this year as he's rejuvenated his power source with his changes that he made at the plate. He's healthier. He's not going to be Mike Trout of MVP days. He's still going to be a powerful hitter, an exciting player, and a drawing card. And the Mets, with the Angels eating some of the money, and they're not going to ask for big prospects to get rid of him because they're looking to dump the salary. And even admitted this in the last couple of days that they would be interested in, or at least thinking about it, which is hard for them to do because of the magnitude of the player. I've always thought he would wind up back with the Phillies. I don't think that's going to happen. You could put him, if you want to have the two kids in the outfield, fine. They are leadoff hitters. They are not home run hitters. They are not carry the team guys. They are set the table guys. Even if they're really good at what they do and they hit the ball hard and they get a lot of hits and they steal bases, they are set the table guys. Then you have Soto, you have the DH, and you have left field for Trout and Soto. That would be my first move. The Mets can afford the contract. It will pay itself off in terms of how many people will be excited to come to the stadium and watch him. I think he can still be productive. It's not going to cost you any big prospects. I would look into that. Number two, and I've always liked the player a lot, and I don't know what's going on. And I'm talking about Devers. Devers is only 29 years old. I understand he has become a disaster in San Francisco. That happens sometimes, especially in a place like San Francisco. He is miserable. He doesn't want to play there. I don't know what position he wants to play, but whatever one it is, whether it's first base or third base, give him a position. He's 29. Now, I would research this enormously, and if you don't have the people to do it, then forget about it. If you have a super scout that you trust and you can get inside, go underneath the surface and find out what's going on in this guy's life, make sure there's nothing going on that you need to forget about it because you're talking about a lot of years left. I think $258 million left on the contract. they would definitely take a piece of that, and they wouldn't ask for any players. They just wanna unload their salary. They want them off the team. This guy is a major offensive force when he's into the game. Now, I notice that since they've mentioned trade, he has hit 3 homers and has hit. He's 9 for his last 30 with 3 homers, RBIs, good batting average, good on base, good power numbers, slugging 800, motivated in his last 30 at bats, even pretty good for his last 50 at bats after being just an automatic out for his first 75 at bats. And he's coming back from that. His overall numbers look awful. This is a guy, though, that we've watched forever. This guy is a big time force. And he's only 29 years old. You can get him for nothing, just money. I gave you 2 guys that you can get. One is a huge name and a big draw. The other one is still could be a really good hitter at the age of 29. This early in the year, there has to be a story involved, otherwise the player is not available. The team has to fall apart, which in this case both teams have. The Angels and the Giants. They want very badly to get the guys off the team. They want to dump the salaries in the worst way, and you have an embarrassment of riches financially. That's why these 2 guys come to mind for me. Are they dangerous? Absolutely, but you know what? You need to do something, or this year's going down the drain. Then if you wind up with one of those guys in the lineup, and then Soto and Bichette start to hit, and Lindor comes back, and Vientos shows you some power, all of a sudden you got a lineup, especially if those 2 kids get on base. Especially if Bench keeps going north, and especially if Ewing shows he can hit here. I liked his at-bats last night. His first at-bat when he drew the walk was really impressive. He did not look overmatched in any way. As a matter of fact, he looked like he knew what he was doing. And when he swung the bat and hit the triple, he hit the ball the way you wanna see a guy like him hit the ball. And we know he's fast. He's a little bit of a thing. I mean, they list him at 5'10", 160. I don't think he's either of those things. He might be 148 soaking wet. I mean, well, who cares? If he can play, he can play. He looks like he can play. And that was heartwarming last night to watch that and to watch his dad. And, I can't even imagine what that would be like. I mean, I know I watched my son play college football, and how proud you are. Imagine watching your son play in the major leagues, who you took out there at 5 and taught him how to play. You taught him how to throw. You taught him how to hit. You were with them in Little League. Maybe somewhere along the way you coached him. Maybe you didn't have time. Maybe you did. The bottom line is you've been with them every step of the way, and now he's in the major leagues. The pride the overwhelming feeling you must feel as a dad is unbelievable. It really is. It was a joy to see that last night in what has been such a terrible, terrible year for the Mets. And they got the right team right now in the Tigers. The Tigers are a broken team right now in every way. Really broken team. But a lot of guys on the shelf, including their great pitcher. Joe, is Met ownership keeping Mendoza mainly because he's in the final year of his deal and the job doesn't look appealing to anybody else? I don't think that's it. They could get somebody to take the job. I'm sure Carlos Beltran would take the job. Okay. I don't think they get Cora right now, but I think they could get a replacement if they needed. I don't think that's the case. I think there's 2 parts with Stearns. Number 1, he likes the way the day-to-day works with Mendoza. Now, I don't know how much they input into Mendoza and how much they let Mendoza. We deal with this yin and yang with managers now all the time. How much do they get in terms of here's today's ideas for lineups, to the point where some people think the lineups are made for them, to the point where they make their own lineups. I don't think Stearns wants a bold, my way out of highway manager. Clearly, I don't think he wants that. I think he wants someone who's collaborative, and I think Mendoza is that in every way. So I think he likes him personally. I think that Mendoza is a good man. I think he's popular with the players. But sooner or later, you got to change something for a spark. If it doesn't work, this is a big week. They got to win yesterday. If they can win the series with Detroit and win the series with the Yankees, it's a big week. John, are the Knicks captivating New York yet? It doesn't feel as big as it should, or is it just too early? No, John, it's just too successful. It's been too easy. You turn these games in there, it's garbage time in the third and fourth quarters. Think about how crazy this town was early in the Atlanta series. This town was nuts. They wanted the manager gone. They wanted the coach gone. They wanted players gone. They wanted to make trades. They wanted to send the whole team packing. When this heats up, now whether it's in the next round, I don't think the next round will be cruise control, but they are playing on a very, very high level right now, and their defense has been just terrific. And let me say this, I think they match up exceedingly well against both Cleveland and Detroit for different reasons. And I think they're headed to the finals, and I think they're headed to the finals without playing a 7th game. I don't think they'll play a 7th game to get there. And I don't know if I mean, if it's San Antonio, which I think it will be, against OKC, I think OKC will drop a game or 2 to San Antonio and win. I don't think they'll sweep them. I think San Antonio is too good. And San Antonio has matched up well against them. But OKC is gonna win. Knicks are gonna win. I think we're gonna get Knicks and OKC. I would be stunned now if we don't get Knicks and OKC. But right now, there's nothing to get excited about. You're in a 10-day lull. The team has gone crazy over its last 7 games and played on the highest of levels, higher level than you've ever even dreamed of. So there's nothing to get upset about. That's all it is. Those monumental days, and should they be in the final, this town's gonna go upside down. Now, the series isn't gonna start most likely till next week. Is it too much time off? Probably. Has it been a good thing for OG and some of the other guys who have little ills? Yes. Has it will it cut off the way they were playing and the sense of timing and everything? A little bit. That first game won't be easy, especially if the team goes 7 games and wins and comes out, they could steal game 1. It happens. Or they could be exhausted depending on, it could go both ways. But the way Knicks are playing defense, they're gonna be very hard to beat. In the East, they're gonna have to play even better to win the West. Paul, the NFL is giving Giants Cowboys primetime opening week. They are. I said I wasn't going to discuss the schedule. Here's a question on the schedule. The opening night Sunday night game is the Cowboys and the Giants, which has been often a staple. Why did they go to that game? They went to that game because they are, first of all, the Cowboys are the Cowboys. That's number one. Secondly, they are welcoming the Giants back into the fold. Giants now have done the things they had to do. Namely, they've unearthed a quarterback and a coach that can win. They have now joined the real teams again. And this is their return to the grand NFL stage. One of the things that bothered the Maras enormously, which they didn't talk a lot about, was they hated being the 4th or 5th game because they had never done that. Think of how many times it was Madden and Summerall. Okay? The Giants never were relegated to what the Arizona Cardinals live with every week. In recent years, they haven't even minded when the Giants and the Jets are on at the same time because nobody cares. The ultimate insult. The Giant games were just another game, and this bothered the Giants, I can tell you, to no end. Well, this is the welcome back now into the real world. Welcome back to the NFL among the living. That's what this is. Doug, is Cam Slittler already the Yankee ace? Well, he's been their best pitcher. The Yankees have two guys who have proven to be aces in their career, one coming back off the shelf, and now a third who is pitching on such a level where he could become that kind of pitcher. Is he already there? I don't. I think the performance expectation is getting close to where you expect a certain level of performance every night when he pitches. When that happens, he will be there. Phil, how long do you think Cohen is committed to Stearns? You know what? This is a good question, Phil. I haven't been down this road, nor has anybody with Cohen, to where he's been made to look bad and they've been made to look like losers as they have been lately. And I don't know what his threshold is for that. I don't know how much patience he wants to show. I don't know how much he believes I don't know how much his belief in Stearns, which I think he really he will listen, he wanted to talk to Theo. Theo wanted ownership. It didn't happen. He wasn't giving him points. He set his sights on Stearns, who was the number 2 man behind Theo. He waited for him. He paid him. He got him. And things have not gone the way they had hoped. How much patience does he have? How long is his leash? I don't know. We haven't seen it yet. We'll all learn that together. Watching him as that owner who wants to accept that mantle. Okay, these guys buy these teams. One, because he had a vision for that area, including his, all the other little all the other toys and whistles that he has now there, which he got, including his gambling, which will, make them so much more money. And he doesn't need any more money, but so much more money. He wanted this for a variety of reasons. One of them, of course, because his wife and her father were huge Met fans, which I think drove him into this. But then it's also a way for a guy who's not famous outside of the street. That is Wall Street, but that's small potatoes compared to what it is when you own a big franchise, because that's national. And as an owner, you can become, as we've seen through the years with George, the ultimate, Al Davis, who was also a coach. Al was a legitimate coach. Jerry Jones, a Mark Cuban, Bob Kraft. We go down the line, okay, the different levels of this. But you can become very much a celebrity. And you can very much become one of the real players in your town, in your city. How he's going to respond to these things, I'm not sure. We're waiting to watch. I think he has shown more restraint than I thought he would, to be honest with you. Now, I want to get to some things here, which we didn't touch on in the emails. But let me first tell you that if you're looking for a betting angle, check out the Top Picks news feed in the BetRivers app. The BetRivers Banter news feed is filled with picks from the BetRivers network personalities and more handicapping to give you insight. Let's say this weekend you want to watch the golf a little bit, and you're looking for a long shot. you can look and see who people pick, what their idea is, what their thought process is, and you make your own decision, pick your own guy based on the information they give you, and that's what you get from the banter. But the fun is in making your own decisions and doing it responsibly. Because if you're not doing it responsibly, none of it's going to work. Now, a lot going on this weekend, as we said. The NFL schedule released tomorrow night. That's something we'll keep to the side. Yankees and Mets after the Yankees finish with the Orioles. Remember, the Yankee game today has been moved up to a day game because they expect rain tonight in Baltimore, so they moved it up to a day game. Whenever the Yankees are hurting, it's always nice to see the Orioles, although the Orioles did beat them one game already, which is a little bit of a surprise. Got back to normalcy last night. The Mets win last night against Detroit. We'll see if they can make it 2 straight this evening as we see the youngsters, enter the lineup. They're not gonna be there as platoon players. They're gonna be there as everyday players. The outfield of the 2 table setters and Soto, is it gonna be something for the future? We'll see. They did draw well last night, which I thought was a positive. It was a nice night, but they drew well. I mean, 36,000 last night was pretty good. I didn't expect that. Obviously, the Yankees come in, which will add some pressure. First, they'd like to get a win against the Tigers, win the series, and then get ready to play the Yankees Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. And remember, the series now will have greater emphasis because if you had the Knicks playing Friday night and Sunday afternoon, it would take a lot away from the series. But you don't. Knicks aren't going to start most likely until next Tuesday, and we'll see what happens. Whether it's Cleveland or Detroit right now, we'll see, as Cleveland, with Mitchell's crazy second half, tied the series up at 2. You can see the weaknesses that both teams present, the erratic nature and the almost bizarre way that Cleveland attacks the series. I mean, an example. The other night, they break the game open in the second half, right? The place is going crazy and everything. And then they have to call timeout in the last minute because they start throwing the ball to the other team on every play. They completely lose their focus in a game that they're up like 14, 16 points. They completely lose their focus. Next thing you know, they're up 8 points, and he's like, "What the heck is going on here? Can we throw the ball to the right team?" They are so erratic as a team. They are so erratic in their approach. Their stars are so erratic in their performance. The most consistent player in that series, without any question, if I ask you, and I don't know, I'm going to assume you guys have watched that from a Knicks standpoint, without question, the most consistent player in that series, it's not even close, has been Tobias Harris for both teams. He's not the best player. He has scored 20, 21, 21, and 16. He has had 8, 7, 6, and 8 rebounds. He has played terrifically. He has played consistently. He has made shots. I've never been a big Tobias Harris fan, but he has done a tremendous job and without question has been the most consistent player in that series. Because, one thing that Cunningham's play has been plagued by 2 things. Number 1, his shooting has been way off. 6 for 19, 10 for 27, 7 for 16. But the turnover totals, 5, 8, 5, 4, 8. I mean, it's crazy how many times he turns the ball over. And they just don't have a lot of scoring. But can you get back-to-back consistent performances out of Cleveland, which doesn't win on the road, wins at home? Detroit's gonna play hard. They're gonna play hard defensively. The problem is, can they score? The lulls in the games, the erratic turnarounds in these games is bizarre in the series. It really is. The PGA has a major down in Pennsylvania on a classic old course, a course where they're going to be able to drive the ball. They're going to be able to drive the ball a long way. You're going to be hitting for them short irons into the greens. So this is going to become a second shot tournament and also how you play around the greens and on the green. The Bet Rivers odds, Scotty 5-1. He has edged up because he has been there, but he hasn't won a lot this year. Rory's 8.5-1, but he does have a toe issue. We pulled a nail off his little toe and he's got a blister and he couldn't walk on it. And I don't, we'll see. Cam Young, who has become a force and really hits it a country mile, is the third favorite at 12-1. Rama is 16-1. Shoffley's 18-1. Oberg is 18-1. DeChambeau is 20-1. Then you got the tandem that is always in lurking, Fitzpatrick and Fleetwood, both 22-1. And then Koepka's 40-1, who is starting to get himself back to playing well in America, getting back on the tour, getting the live rust off, and starting to play a little bit more like Brooks Koepka, which could make him dangerous. I, for some reason, this week thought Scotty was going to win. I a lot of times think Scotty's going to win. This week, I just have it in my head he's going to play well, and he's going to have one of those weeks. That's my. I don't have another guy this week that came into mind. I just think Scotty's going to play well this week. I just think he is. I know that he's really set his designs on the U.S. Open for obvious reasons, but he wouldn't mind another PGA. The Preakness, 14 horses. You've got a couple of the Derby horses back in the mix. You got a lot of horses for courses, horses that a lot of speed in the race. A lot of the Pimlico horses would be speed horses to begin with. Remember, this race is at Laurel, not Pimlico. Taj Mahal, you're going to hear mentioned as a horse that's a horse for the course of Laurel by a leading trainer. Speedball, go down the road, except there's a lot of speed in this race, and he might be kind of ordinary. Incredible, who I mentioned a lot as a horse that I thought could run well. He got all kinds of traffic problems in the Derby, but so did everybody else. Let's be honest. Horses that ran close, like Renegade, had all kinds of nightmarish problems. Horses that got wiped out, like Commandment. Horses that had huge problems, like the Chief, had nightmarish trips. Everybody had a bad trip. It was probably the messiest race I ever can remember. Horses were getting hit every which way. So I will give you later in the week. I haven't done the past performances yet. I have to get myself up to date on the non-Derby horses and the Preakness horses. I do know there's a lot of speed, so I'll be looking for one of the closers. A closer can win there, especially if there's a ton of speed, and this race looks to have a lot of speed in it. A lot of speed. So we'll get to that later in the week. Listen, I don't know what you expected out of Stearns when he talked yesterday. He clearly is taking, and he's got his ownership to take a wait-and-see approach. We can get this turned around. Now, look at the job that Mattingly's already done with the Phillies. All right, things have turned around. They're in second place. They are only 2 games under 500. I mean, they still have ways to go to catch up to the Braves, who are playing great baseball. But the bottom line is they were in last place. Now they've moved up to second place on the Donnie baseball. The Mets have got to get a run together at some point before you're going to take them seriously. I don't know when they're going to get healthy. It doesn't sound like Polanco's going to be playing anytime soon. Doesn't sound like the center fielder's coming back anytime soon, but right now, with your outfield, you're not looking for him anyway. You kinda wanna see how this experiment works. You'd like to get Lindor back, but I don't know that I believe there was an MRI in his future either today or tomorrow. I think it's today, to give you an idea as to when it could be possible. I don't think he's close. I think you're still looking weeks out till they get him back. This is a big week. Bringing the kid up added some excitement to the week, gave the fan base something to hold on to. And you could see the way they responded to it. They responded to it in a big way last night. They really responded to this kid. It wasn't ho-hum. It was really they were excited by this last night. They were clearly excited by this last night. And let's see how they do. Right now, the Tigers are playing terrible baseball. I mean, absolutely. They are beat up. Their best players aren't there. Their great pitcher isn't there. They are not doing anything right. Uh, so from that standpoint, they've let's see what the Tigers have done here. The Tigers have lost 7 of 10. They are hurting in a lot of areas. They're vulnerable right now. Let's see how the Mets can do here. Get a split in the next 2 games, win the series, and then comes the Yankee series, which is gonna be so much more important to them than it will be to the Bombers. As far as the Bombers, one thing, and obviously, power pitching, power hitting. We know that. But, it's funny. We all know how the Grisham return was treated. We know that he's hitting 178 with a 6.77 OPS. But if you notice something else, guy's had 25 hits. He's got 26 RBIs. So you got Judge with 30 RBIs with his 16 homers. You got Bellinger with 29 RBIs doing his job. Rice with 29 RBIs doing a sensational job. And right behind those guys is Grisham hitting 178, but he has 26 RBIs. He's 4 off the team lead. He gets big hits. He makes his hits count. He's got 6 doubles, 6 homers. He's got 25 runs scored and 26 RBIs. That's highly, highly productive. I mean, say what you want. Any way you slice it, that is really a productive. I mean, out of a guy hitting 178, you got guys who get paid a lot of money who have single digit or have 10, 11 RBIs. This guy's got 26 runs batted in. 26. I mean, Judge has 36 runs scored. Rice has 31 runs scored. Both outrageous numbers. Bellinger has 26 runs scored. Grisham has 25 runs scored, batting 178. And he has 26 RBIs. Makes his hits count in a very, very big way. Makes his hits count. I will say one thing. I wasn't going to say anything about the NFL, but I'm going to say this as the NFL continues to try to go every day of the week over the holidays. Try to just say, we are the NFL and we can do whatever we want and we'll put our games wherever we want. One word of caution for the NFL. And I understand the NFL is in such a power position that nobody thinks that they can do anything to screw it up. But I would say this, one of the greatest strengths that the NFL has had through these years is they completely own a day. Think about that. They completely own a day. The day of rest in America for half the year is called a football Sunday. But if you take so many games off the Sunday schedule and put them all over the place internationally and on pay-per-view as single shots in all different places, there'll come a point where you have given away a part of your day. That would be foolhardy. That would be a big, big, big mistake. We'll see you later.